Today, we're going to connect a 2,000-year-old artifact to one of the biggest challenges in modern artificial intelligence. Now, I know that sounds like a stretch, but trust me, the answer is literally carved in stone. Let's dive in. So, what can an ancient slab of rock really teach you about AI? Well, it turns out pretty much everything. It holds the secret to how AI systems see, understand, and, maybe most importantly, trust who you are in the digital world. So, let's do a real quick history recap. Way back in 1960 BCE, this decree gets carved into stone in 3 different scripts. Then, silence. For over 1,400 years, hieroglyphics were a total mystery. No one could read them. Then, boom, 1799, it's discovered. And by 1822, this genius, Jean-François Champollion, finally cracks the code. The mystery was solved. And here is the big aha moment. Champollion didn't invent a new language. He didn't create anything new. He realized the stone had the exact same message, just written in 3 different ways. See, the key to unlocking it all wasn't invention. It was perfect translation. Okay, and this is where it all clicks into place for us today. Your brand does the exact same thing. It speaks in different scripts. Your website, with all its storytelling, that's like the detailed, secret hieroglyphs. Your LinkedIn profile, that's your professional common script, kind of like Demotic. And then you've got schema markup. That's the structured, machine-readable code, just like the administrative Gleek script. So this brings us to a huge problem for brands right now. What happens when all your different scripts, your website, your LinkedIn, your data, don't actually tell the same story? What if they start contradicting each other, even in small ways? Well, for an AI, the result is just chaos. It sees a fragmented, contradictory mess. It can't piece together a clear picture of you, so it can't verify who you are or what you're about. It just sees noise, gets confused, and moves on. And this really comes down to 2 totally different paths you can take. On one side, you have translation. That's when you keep your core meaning the same and just change the format. But on the other side, you have adaptation. That's when you start changing the actual message to try and fit the platform. And that is where the contradictions creep in. This brings us to a fundamental rule for this new age of AI, and it's this: translation preserves identity. Adaptation destroys it. Every single time you adapt your message instead of just translating it, you are actively chipping away at your brand's integrity in the eyes of a machine. So if adaptation is the enemy, how do we fight it? Well, there's a framework for this. It's called the translation matrix, and you can think of it as your blueprint for making sure you're consistent everywhere, all the time. It all starts right here with layer 1, the untranslatable core. Seriously, think of this as your brand's DNA. It's a short statement, maybe 50 to 100 words, that is your absolute, non-negotiable source of truth. This is the master copy. It never changes. Okay, once you've nailed that down, you move to layer 2, where you do the actual translations. You take that core DNA and you express it based on each platform's rules. For your website, it becomes a long narrative. For LinkedIn, maybe it's a professional bio with bullet points. For a Twitter bio, it gets squeezed into 160 characters. And for schema, it becomes code. The format changes, but the core meaning has to stay exactly the same. And finally, there's layer 3. This is your quality control. This is huge. Before you publish anything, you run a check. Do all these different versions still describe the exact same thing? Are the key ideas identical? If there's any doubt, you go back and revise until they are perfect mirrors of each other. You're aiming for what's called semantic equivalence. Okay, that's the theory. I get it. But let's make this super practical. Here is your 4-step blueprint to take this whole idea and put it into action. The process is actually pretty straightforward. Step 1, you write that untranslatable core. That's your anchor. Step 2, you figure out the rules for every platform, character limits, formatting, you name it. Step 3, you create all your different translations. And step 4, this is so important, you deploy them all at the same time and then use AI tools to check if machines are actually getting a consistent picture. This whole thing, this entire practice, is called cross-platform identity translation. It's really the architecture of your brand for an AI-driven world. It's all about expressing your core identity in different formats while keeping the meaning perfectly, absolutely identical. And why do we do all this? What's the point? It's to create a single, verifiable identity. That's the holy grail. You want any AI on any platform, anywhere in the world, to look at your digital presence and see one clear, undeniable truth about who you are. So,
I'll leave you with a question to chew on. Take a really honest look at your brand's presence across the web. Is it speaking one unified language, perfectly translated for every context? Or is it speaking a bunch of different ones, creating confusion? The Rosetta Stone taught us that clarity only comes from consistency. And for today's AI, that has never been more true.